Imagine this. Two guys walk into the same cafe. They both notice the same beautiful woman sitting alone with a laptop. The first guy walks up and says, "Hi, how are you?" She smiles politely, but the conversation dies in less than 30 seconds. The second guy walks up and says something different. 5 minutes later, she's laughing. 10 minutes later, she closes her laptop and is fully engaged in the conversation. Same woman, same environment, but two completely different outcomes. So what happened? Was the second guy more handsome, more confident, or did he simply understand something about how conversations actually work in the human brain? Today, we're going to break down the psychology behind mastering conversations with women. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why some conversations instantly feel natural, while others feel painfully awkward. Part 1. Conversations are emotional, not logical. Most men think conversations are about saying the right words, but psychologically, conversations are actually about creating emotional movement. Think of it like watching a movie. If a movie is predictable and flat, you get bored. But if it creates curiosity, tension, surprise, and laughter, you stay glued to the screen. The same thing happens during conversations. Your brain constantly asks one question: is this interaction interesting enough to keep my attention? Now here's a question for you. Have you ever talked to someone who gave short answers like yeah or okay? Comment yes if you've experienced that before. Because when that happens, it's usually not rejection. It's boredom. And boredom kills conversations faster than anything else. Part 2, the coffee shop analogy. Let's go back to the cafe example. Guy number 1 says, "Hi, how are you?" That question has been asked millions of times. Her brain already knows the script. "I'm fine. How are you?" Conversation over. But the second guy says something different. He notices her laptop and says, "Let me guess, you're either doing something important or pretending to work so nobody disturbs you." Now something interesting happens. Her brain pauses because the comment is unexpected. Unexpected things activate curiosity, and curiosity is the fuel of good conversations. Instead of answering automatically, she now thinks. And when someone starts thinking during a conversation, you've captured their attention. Let me ask you something. What do you think is more attractive? Someone who tries to impress or someone who creates interesting moments? Type impress or interesting in the comments. Quick pause for 1 second. If you're someone who enjoys learning human psychology, attraction dynamics, and social intelligence, then this channel is literally designed for you. Most people never understand why people react the way they do. But the viewers here are different. They want to understand the psychology behind behavior. So if you're part of that group, hit subscribe now so you don't miss the next video. Because the next concept we're about to talk about is something almost nobody teaches. Part 3, the ping pong rule. Great conversations work like ping pong. One person sends the ball, the other person sends it back. But many people accidentally kill the game. For example, you ask a question, she answers, and then you immediately ask another question. Now the conversation feels like an interview. Instead, try this. When she answers something, react to it. Example, she says, "I work in marketing." Most people respond, "Oh, nice." But a better response might be, "Marketing? That explains why you look like someone who could sell water to a fish." Now you've added playfulness. Playfulness creates emotional energy, and emotional energy makes conversations memorable. Part 4, the curiosity loop. Here's something fascinating about the brain. Humans hate unfinished stories. Psychologists call this the curiosity gap. For example, imagine someone says, "I had the most awkward date of my life yesterday." Then they pause. Your brain immediately wants to know what happened. You feel pulled into the story. You can use the same psychology in conversations. Instead of saying everything immediately, leave small curiosity gaps. Example, "I once tried something on a date that backfired so badly." Pause. Most people will instantly ask, "What happened?" Now they are invested in the conversation. Let me ask you something interesting. Have you ever been talking to someone and suddenly realized hours passed without noticing? Comment flow if you've ever experienced that, because that's exactly what great conversations create. Part 5, the secret of emotional mirroring. Here's something most people don't realize. Humans naturally mirror emotions. If someone is calm, you feel calm. If someone is excited, you feel excited. If someone is nervous, you feel awkward. This means something powerful. The emotional tone of the conversation is contagious. If you speak slowly, smile, and remain relaxed, the other person subconsciously matches that energy. That's why confident people make conversations feel effortless. Not because they say perfect things, but because they control the emotional atmosphere. Part's the story effect. Facts are forgettable. Stories are memorable. If you say, "I like traveling," that's fine. But if you say, "I once got lost in a city at 2 a.m. and ended up eating street food with strangers," now the conversation becomes visual. Stories activate imagination, and imagination activates emotion. Let me ask you something. What's the most interesting conversation you've ever had with someone you just met? Drop it in the comments. You'd be surprised how many great relationships started with one unexpected conversation. By the way, if you made it this far in the video, you're already part of the top percentage of viewers who actually want to improve their social intelligence. Most people watch videos passively, but the people who stay until the end are usually the ones who apply what they learn. So if you want to master psychology, attraction, and human behavior, make sure you subscribe now, because the next videos will break down things like why silence can make you more attractive, the psychology of eye contact, and the hidden signals people send without realizing it. Final insight. At the end of the day, mastering conversations with women isn't about memorizing lines. It's about understanding how the human brain responds to curiosity, emotion, and storytelling. Because the best conversations don't feel like interviews. They feel like shared experiences. And when someone enjoys the experience of talking to you, they'll always want to talk again. But now I'm curious, what do you think is the hardest part about starting conversations with women? Is it A, knowing what to say, B, confidence, C, keeping the conversation interesting? Comment A, B, or C below, and I'll see you in the next video.